Hi everyone, welcome to the lecture number 11 of unit number 1, vector differentiation. In previous class, we have taken the examples on directional derivative. That topic we have covered. Now, we are going to discuss the another important topic of this unit, scalar potential phi of xyz. This is the calculation of scalar potential phi of xyz. Now, what do we mean by scalar potential? For that, I have written here, if a vector field f bar is an irrotational or we can say conservative field, vector field, then there exists, this is the symbol of there exists, a scalar potential phi such that f bar equals to del phi means gradient of phi, grad phi you can say. So whenever, the meaning of this line is, whenever your vector field f bar is irrotational vector field or you can say conservative vector field, for all such fields there always exists one scalar function phi of xyz, you can call it as scalar potential, whose gradient equals to the given vector field f bar. Means when you calculate the gradient of that phi, so scalar potential, that gradient will be exactly equal to the field f bar. The value of f bar will be exactly equal to the gradient of that field. So this is the meaning of only means whenever we'll have irrotational field or such a fields, there always exists a scalar potential. Now there are two cases. Examples of scalar potential are divided in two cases. Case number one, if f bar is f1 of xyz I cap plus f2 of xyz j cap plus f3 of xyz k cap. Means whenever your vector field f bar is in terms of xyz, the meaning of this is what? They are in terms of xyz, and if this such a field is irrotational, then the scalar potential phi of, in this case number one, whenever your f bar is expressed in this form, that is in terms of xyz, in such a case, to calculate scalar potential phi, we have this formula of integration. Phi of xyz equals to integral, this is the condition on first integral, y comma z constant f1 dx. So first component f1 we are going to integrate with respect to x under the condition that y and z are constant. So when you are integrating this function, first function, you need to consider y terms in y and z as constant. Plus second integration. Second integration is of second component f2 with respect to y now, and having two conditions on it. Z is a constant and terms free of x. So while integrating second component f2 with respect to y, we need to consider the terms in z, means the z as a constant, and we have to consider only terms free of x. So if some term contains terms of x, that such terms we have to avoid while integrating. For example, suppose your f2 is x square y plus 2z y. In such a case, here we have two terms. One term is free of x. This term contains x. So if there is any term of x, while integrating, we are going to remove this term. We are going to integrate only this particular term, which is free of x. That is the meaning of terms free of x. So only integrate this term with respect to y and consider z as a constant at that time. So its integration will be, if you consider z constant, integrate y square by 2 will be the integration. So the final answer will be zy square. 2 will get cancelled. So the integration of will be zy square. So in such a way, you have to consider the terms free of x. Now after the second integration, we have to move towards third integration. f3 dz means the third component we are going to integrate with respect to z. And the condition on the third integral is terms free of x and y. Means if you have terms, if you don't have any term of which is free of x and y, at that time you take here 0. Okay. And if you have some terms which are free of x and y, means the terms of only purely the terms of z, if such terms are available in f3 which are purely a function of z, at that time only you take the terms here to integrate with respect to z. Only if there is any term which contains x or y or both, we have to avoid such terms. Okay. And finally plus constant of integration. So this is the formula whenever your fr is function of xyz in terms of xyz. And if that field is irrotational, so in such examples, whenever you are going to calculate scalar potential, you need to first show that the field is irrotational. Then only you can find the scalar potential. And final answer will be also a function of xyz. So whenever f bar is in terms of xyz, your phi will be also in terms of xyz. Now come towards the second case. If f bar is a function of r bar, where r bar is xi plus yj plus zk, means your f bar is expressed in terms of r bar, not in terms of xyz. Okay. For example, I have written some examples of such functions. F bar equals to r square r bar. It contains r bar. This function f bar equals to a bar dot r bar into r. This also contains, wait a minute, here we must have r bar because this is scalar quantity, this is vector quantity. So scalar into vector, vector. So final has to be vector. F bar is vector, therefore r bar has to be there. So both are in terms of r bar. Such type of functions will be in front of you. And in such a case, if you want to calculate scalar potential, so very first there has to be an irrotational field or conservative field. So first we have to prove that they are irrotational or conservative. For that we have to show that the curl is 0, okay, of that vector field. For proving irrotational, the meaning of irrotational is what? Curl of that vector field is 0. Then in such a case, scalar potential phi is obtained by solving this differential equation. Okay, so for this case procedure is different for calculating phi. For this case procedure is different for calculating phi. So whenever we have f bar in terms of r bar, we solve this differential equation to get the required function phi. Now some notes regarding while solving this differential equation, some notes you need to take care of. If whenever you will have this type of term there, r bar dot dr bar, the value of r bar dot dr bar you have to take as rdr for solving the differential equation. And obtain phi is in terms of r. So final answer will be in terms of r, not in terms of, it is scalar quantity. So it is r is a scalar quantity which is magnitude of r bar. So final answer will be in terms of r only, not in terms of r bar. Okay, and this relation is very important for solving the differential equation. Such type of term you will have in the calculation r bar dot dr bar. That term you have to replace by rdr. The value of both the terms is same. So this is regarding the theory part of the scalar potential topic. You need to understand all these things carefully. Once you understand them well, definitely you can do good in examples. Okay. Now I will start solving. So I will first solve some example of case 1, then examples of case 2, and some example for practice I will give you. And once you understand how to do the calculations, this topic will be over. So let us move towards example. This is the first example on case 1. So first we'll discuss the case 1 type examples in which the f bar will be in terms of x, y, z. Then we'll take an example on case 2 and some example for practice. The question will be like this. Show that f bar equal to this field is irrotational and find scalar potential phi such that f bar equal to del phi. We have discussed already, whenever we will prove that it is irrotational, there will always exist scalar potential phi for which f bar is equal to gradient of that phi. Okay. So very first we need to prove that it is irrotational. Then only we will calculate the scalar potential. So given field I have written one more time f bar in solution. Now by definition, for proving this is irrotational, we need to show that curl of that vector field is 0. So curl of f bar by definition, it is del cross f bar, which is equal to determinant. First row is ijk of the determinant. Second row is the component of this del cross, which is ijk component of del, which is del by del x, del by del y, del by del z. They are the partial differential operators. And finally, the components of f bar. This is f1 here, f2, f3. Okay. Now let us calculate this determinant. It always comes equal to 0. Whenever the example is show that it is irrotational, it has to come equal to 0. Now while writing the terms, how you are going to do the calculation? For saving your calculation, you can do calculation in this way. First is I into del by del y of this, that is partial derivative with respect to y. So it is, if you differentiate this with respect to y, this term don't contain y, so its derivative will be 0. Derivative of minus y will be minus 1. So once you calculate this one derivative, the second derivative, that is del by del z of this function, you directly write it as plus 1. Because it is going to become 0. So if we have minus 1 here, so for making this term 0, we must add plus 1 in that. Okay. So once you determine one derivative, second derivative, you just write the same derivative with opposite sign. Okay. In that way, you can save your calculations. Okay. Minus j time. Now determinant second minus j times second term in the determinant minus j times del by del x of this. So del by del x with respect to x z is 3z square. If it is 3z square, then next will be minus 3z square. So without doing any calculation, you can directly write it. It will come. You can check it also. Del by del z of this. This term don't contain any x. Its z will be 0 and z of z cube will be 3z square, and in between minus sign. Okay. So it will come directly. Then plus k times k cap del by del x with respect to x rate of this function is 6x. So the next has to be minus 6x. In that way, you will get del cross f bar. It is a vector, so we can write it as 0 bar, 0 of vector, 0i, 0j, 0k can be written as 0 bar. This will, from this we can claim that f bar is irrotational field. And f bar is in terms of x, y, z and it is irrotational. Therefore, we can calculate a scalar function for this. Now, whenever f bar is in terms of x, y, z, we have this formula for calculating f phi. Phi is, you write that formula one more time. Phi f1 dx integration yz constant. Second term f2 dy z constant. Term free of x, it can be written as no x. No x means terms free of x. Third, integration f3 dz. No x, no y, that is terms free of x and y. You can write it as plus constant. Okay. Now I will do that integration. Okay. Now phi equals to first term f1. F1 here we have to take directly. It is 6xy plus z cube. Integration with respect to x. Condition is y comma z constant. While integrating with respect to x, you consider y and z as constant. Next term, no x. We have to check how many terms are there in f2 which are free of x. In f2 there are two terms. One term contains x, so that term we are not going to consider for integration. Only second term which is free of x, so which is minus z. So that minus z I will write here, dy, and what? Z constant. The condition is z constant and no x. No x we have already considered. Third term, no x, no y. If you check the third term f3, here terms of x is also available in the first. In the second is y is also available. So nothing, no term is free of x and y. So we'll take here 0 dz and plus constant of integration. Now just complete the integration, you'll get your required function phi of x, y, z, scalar potential as integration of this with respect to x, y and z as constant, 6y is constant, 6 is constant, y is constant, integration of x is x square by 2. So x square by 2 into this 6 will be 3x square y. Second term z is also constant, so z cube will come outside integration. Integration of 1 will be x. So it will be z cube x minus, this sign minus, z is a constant, z as it is. Integration of 1 with respect to y will be, and finally integration of z is constant, so finally constant will be some c1, you can say. So this is the value of phi of x, y, z, which is the required scalar potential. So it is very easy to integrate. Just the condition on the integrations are necessary to check. This is the final value of phi. And if you want to check whether your answer is correct or not, find the gradient of this function del phi. Find what? Del phi. And that del phi, if equal to f bar, which is this function, then only your answer is correct. So del phi means with respect to x, in del phi we have three terms, del phi by del x, del phi by del y, del phi by del z. You need to check that whether del phi by del x equal to f1, del phi by del y equal to f2, del phi by del z equal to f3. If all the three derivatives are equal to f1, f2, f3, your calculations are correct. If you differentiate with respect to x, you will get here 6xy plus z cube, which is your f1. If you differentiate with respect to y, you will get 3x square minus y. 3x square minus z, which is your f2. If you differentiate with respect to z, you will get here 3xz square minus y, which is the f3. Means our calculated phi is correct. So this is how you can solve the examples on scalar potential. Now one example for practice I will give. of this type. Then we'll move in, and I will conclude this lecture, and in next lecture we'll discuss the remaining examples. Okay. So this is the problem for homework. F bar is y e raised to x y cos z I cap x e raised to x e to the power x. This x into y is in the power of e. Cos z is in the multiplication of e raised to xy minus e raised to xy sin into sin z k cap is rotational, and find the scalar potential phi such that f bar equals to del phi. So this is like previous example. F1, F2, F3 are these, and final answer phi is equal to e to the power xy, e to the power xy, x into y, and into cos z plus cos 2. So this is the answer. Try to solve this problem. In coming lecture, we will discuss more problems on this topic. Thank you so much.